Hi guys, thank you so much for being here and tuning in to my channel. While you're here, make sure that you like this video, make sure to share it, but make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can be alerted to new videos as they are here. I am an empowerment coach and I help leaders to level up their impact. And I look at doing that in a way with a faith and a gratitude mindset. And faith like a boss is my tagline. So listen, I'm so glad that you're here. Get your notebook and get ready to tune in to this episode of Coffee, Coaching, and Conversation. I hope that you will enjoy the lesson. I do bring on guests from time to time to talk about different matters. Consider this your group coaching on the go. If you're looking for more ways to connect with me or more ways to plug in, check the description. I always have on-demand online courses, live workshops and webinars, and even one-on-one coaching available. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you, and make sure that you comment down below your response to the video. And if you'd like to catch me live, you can always catch me live on Facebook on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Let's go to today's episode. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday morning, April the 15th, and I am so grateful to be with you all this morning. Remember, if you are here, make sure to drop an emoji in the comments today. How about drop an emoji of how you're feeling today? Just an emoji, no words, of how you're feeling. We're going to give people a little bit of time to come in. I know some people have already started working, or some people are getting their kids situated, and I totally understand that. I get that. I'm right there with you. So I'll give you just a little bit of time to come on. I appreciate you all so much for hanging in there with me. This is Coffee, Coaching, and Conversation. Coffee, Coaching, and Conversation. Today we'll be talking about working from home and homeschooling elementary school students at the same time. Doing it at the same time. I'm going to see if I can't share this live stream right quick on Facebook. We are live on Facebook and Instagram. So I appreciate you all so much for being with me. Thank you for being with me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to start a watch party. All right. Okay, we've got that going. Thank you all so much for bearing with me. I wanted to make sure to be visible on Instagram and Facebook. And I want to try, if you're on Facebook, I'll be able to comment a little bit better. I should be able to see your comments this morning. And if you're on Instagram, I will try to respond to you verbally. So I appreciate you all so much. So this is Coffee, Coaching, and Conversation. And just to remind you of who I am Kimberly Denise. I am a certified life coach. That's important because a lot of people these days are calling themselves life coaches without any type of certification or training. I am certified through the John Maxwell team, which is a program that was created that's founded on leadership principles. I chose this program because to date I have about 24 years of leadership experience from serving in various leadership roles in church and in the community. All right, so with my certification, I also specialize in working with youth. I have a parent and family certification as well. All right, so I have that youth certification and that parent and family certification. So I am a certified life coach. Not only that, I'm a parent. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business. I've had various ups and downs on this journey of entrepreneurship, working from home, hybrid, going into a co-working space sometimes, and all of that good stuff. So working from home, while not new to me, not being able to go to my office space is different for me. I worked out of a co-working space specifically because I wanted to collaborate with other entrepreneurs and creatives. And being able to do so has been an amazing game changer for me as far as my mindset goes. It's kind of like when you try to go, well, I'll say for me, when I try to go for a jog, I don't like jogging. I can walk all day long. I don't like jogging. However, if I go jogging with at least one person, I tend to do a little better. If I go work out with at least another person, or if I'm in a class, I do better. The motivation of other people going and seeing them, and it's just like, wait, well, they're not stopping. Why would I stop? Something about seeing other people and being with other people, for me, helps me to keep going. And I'm sure there's something about that that's the same way for you, right? Being with other people helps to keep you going. Whether you work on a job and you're an employee and you see your coworkers completing their task and getting things done, and you know, y'all are having check-in meetings or staff meetings and people are sharing what they've accomplished. Something about that keeps you going and keeps you motivated. Now we feel kind of isolated. We're home. Maybe we're home with the kids. So I'm going to give you some important tips that are going to help you. And I appreciate you all so much for being on. Good morning, Carmen. I hope you are doing well this morning. Thank you so much for joining in. Make sure to drop in the comments, say something so that I can shout you out and I know that you're here. Before I get into our topic this morning, and remember, I promised you last week that I would not be as long as I was. I promised you last week I would not be as long this week. All right. So I was in my devotional time this morning and it was amazing. And I'm going to share something with you. This is a transparent moment. I've been involved in various levels of ministry in college, when I was a graduate student. I've gone on mission trips. I've done all of these things, and I've had highs and lows as it relates to my personal devotion time. All right. My relationship with God is solid. You know, I love him. I trust him. I believe in him. I am anchored in my faith. My faith is one of my anchors, which is why going through my own situation of losing a spouse suddenly was something that I was able to recover from. Just the day before that traumatic, sudden, unexpected loss, I delivered a message. And the title was Making the Best of a Bad Situation. God has been dealing with me for the last 2 years about that message. I really was not sure how I could deliver a message like that, and the very next day I would be in a position where I would have to make the best of a bad situation. So one of the things I want to make sure to say to you all today is that when you see my posts, and I'm talking about time management and I'm talking about scheduling, that is not me belittling the fact or ignoring the fact that we are going through a global pandemic. We have a global crisis. I am very aware of that. I am very sensitive to that. But because I have gone through my own personal trauma before this happened, I know that I can make it through this. And so part of my reason for showing up and being here for you guys is to help you to know that you can make it through this, right? It seems bad, right? It seems like, oh my goodness, we've never been through this. People are having to cancel weddings, cancel all types of plans, and not be able to see the people that they love. But we have to think about the way we're responding, right? Especially if we have little ones in the house, they're watching us. Even if we don't verbally let that negativity come out, we have to be very careful how we respond. All right. So before I get into the tips today, remember we're talking about this week, working from home and homeschooling an elementary student. I'm a former classroom teacher. So I know what it's like to teach and got a master's degree in education, all of that. However, as it relates to homeschooling, my expertise is with an elementary school student because my son is in the first grade, right? So while my tips that I am going to share with you from my personal life can be used for various ages, I'm specifically focusing on elementary. Just because that's where I am and that's what I can relate the most to. All right, so before we get into that, really quick, when I was in my devotional time this morning and reading, I'm going through a devotional plan called When Tragedy Strikes. I think that's the name of it, When Tragedy Strikes, and it is on the Bible app. If you are connected with me and get text messages from me, you should have received an invitation. If you are following this page, Kimberly Denise, that I'm going live from, you should have seen post and an invitation. I think we can have up to 150 people. Good morning, Faye. I hope you are doing well. If you saw those posts, I want you to join with me in that study, and we will continue to do Bible reading plans and studies and all of that. And also I will be leading a life group through my church, and so I'll give you details about that probably be the first part of next week. All right, so oh my goodness, we are worldwide. My friend Samir, who is in Morocco, just tuned in on IG. So we're worldwide. We're international, guys. What's up, Samir? It's great to see you. He is a fellow John Maxwell coach as well. We met. Did we meet last year? We met last year in Orlando at the International Maxwell Certification event. So I made some amazing friends, and that was an amazing time. But in my devotional this morning, I was just thinking about, and I invite you all to join. There should be a link, and I can share a link later on today as well. But I ended up going to Psalm number 77. And this particular Psalm, I'm just going to read about 3 verses from it. It's 20 verses long. And so I don't want to take up too much time. You can read it in your own time. But verses 1 and 2 read, I cried out to God for help. I cried out to God to hear me. When I was in distress, I sought the Lord at night. I stretched out untiring hands, and I would not be comforted. Verse 11 says, I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your miracles of long ago. So basically, this particular psalm, in the first 10 verses, we see the psalmist's troubles and temptations. All right, we see his troubles and temptations. But in verses 11 through 20, he encourages himself by the remembrance of God's help of his people. All right, so some important things that I want to share with you that tie into what we're going to talk about today. All right.
days of trouble must be days of prayer. When I lost my husband and I couldn't think of anything else to do, and I didn't know who I could trust, who I could talk to, who I could turn to, I knew that I could lean and depend on God. And if I could do nothing else, I could pray. You know, at one point it seemed like his word wasn't speaking to me, or it's just like, well, God, you said your word will not return unto you void. And how is it that I'm going through this particular situation? You know, all of these questions that you go through when you lose someone that you love, when you have a trauma, when you're grieving over something. Maybe it's not loss as in death. You know, maybe it's something like losing a job, a relationship ending from divorce, whatever it is that it's making you grieve. In our day of trouble, we must pray. They must be days of prayer. All right. It may seem like God has withdrawn from us, but we must seek him until we find him. All right. And in that second part, the last few verses 11 through 20, the remembrance of the works of God will be a powerful remedy against distress. All right. So we've got to remember, if he did it before, he'll do it again. All right. If he did it before, he'll do it again. All right. So what I wanted to share with you all this morning, we're talking about work and homeschool balance, and I'm going to try to wrap up in about 5 minutes. All right. So work and homeschool balance. Two things that I have for sure. Intention, gratitude. Here's the third one. Love. Intention, gratitude, and love. All right. Intention, gratitude, and love. Good morning, Crystal. Intention, gratitude, and love. Working from home may be new to you. Homeschooling an elementary school student may be new. But if we do everything with intention, if we approach it with gratitude and love, we will be all right. All right. So here's some tips. Routines are important. I understand we don't know what tomorrow will hold. It's a global pandemic. People are in distress. I get it. It is pretty bad. However, because I am a woman of faith, I cannot dwell on those things. I have to hold on to my faith, and I have to know that there are better days ahead. Am I sad some days? Yes. Are there some days that I don't feel like getting out of the bed? Yes. Are there some days that I just want to cry and just want to be and just feel how I feel? Yes. But I cannot stay there. All right. So having a routine is important. You may be able to see right behind me. That's our schedule. I made a schedule for my son for his homeschooling. And because I made that schedule, I'm able to come to you once a week live. Right now, he's doing his Bible lesson through the Bible app for kids. He spends time in the Word every single morning in a way that meets him. All right. So I talked about intention. I am intentional about the fact that I now have to homeschool my son. But guess what? I'm his first teacher anyway. Even though he was going to a physical school building and he was experiencing education in a public setting, I'm still his number one teacher. So as his number one teacher who has the responsibility of now being responsible of his schedule daily, I am making sure that he's not only getting his lesson, but as a mom whose faith is important, he's in the Word every single day. That's a part of our homeschooling. He's in the Word every single day. Not only that, I have yoga at the beginning of his day. My son is very high energy. If you know him, he is full of life, never seems to calm down. He can bounce and he can go. I love that about him. When he was in my womb, he never stopped moving. So much so to the point that he got tangled up in the umbilical cord, and I ended up having to have an emergency C-section. I could give you details about that, but that's for another time. But just know that he moves a lot. But because I am intentional in knowing my child, in knowing what he needs, I know that having something at the beginning of his day that can calm him is very important. Sitting on the mat and doing yoga is not only something that he loves, it helps him to calm down and to focus. And I've realized from this intention that whenever school starts back, I don't know when that will be. I'm not going to trouble myself with that. But whenever school starts back, good morning, Crystal checking in. Love you, boo. Good morning, Monte. Thank you so much for joining. Those of you on Instagram, thank you so much for joining. I am intentional about the fact that his day is important, and I set the standard for his day. And because I do that, I am able to do the work that I need to do. So the other schedule that you see is my schedule. For the first few weeks, I did not operate off of a schedule. I had a schedule for him, and it drove me crazy. If you know me, if you know my personality type, I am a scheduler. I am a planner. That's not to say that I don't allow room for change and for God to be in control. Good morning, Pastor Mormon, my cousin, Quay. Good morning. I know how I function, and I thought I could do it without a written schedule. That didn't work for me. So what I had to do after the first few weeks, I scheduled myself around his schedule. So based on times when I have him working on the computer and completing some of his lessons, his Bible lesson every morning, I am able to do meetings, my Zoom calls, and all of these things. I blocked out time according to his schedule, and it has been a game changer for me. All right. So routines are important. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know, because we've had a routine before now, and it was important that we have a routine during this, right? So because we've experienced our own trauma and anxiety, this causes more anxiety than you know. Yes, I'm on here. I'm smiling. I am hopeful. But I'm also grateful, guys. I'm also grateful because I'm alive to go through this. It's kind of bad, right? And we don't know what tomorrow holds. But I'm still here for a reason, right? So whatever that reason is, number one reason, I've got this child I've got to take care of. I need to make sure I'm intentional about that. So we have our schedule and our routine. All right, let me check the time. I'm going a little bit over. I've got 2 more points. Boundaries are important as well. You have to establish boundaries in your home. All right, everybody's home now. So we don't have that time away like we were having before. So boundaries are important. So make sure that you establish those boundaries. One of the boundaries I established with my son in his room where I'm sitting at my kitchen table, his door is it's right there. I established boundaries. All right. Mommy's about to record a video. Mommy's about to work. She's about to get on the on Zoom with a client, and you can't be a part of that. So please push your door up and please put your headphones on while you're doing your work. It'll only take me about this much time. When I'm done, I will come in and check on you and get you started on your next thing. He's in the 1st grade, by the way. This is teaching him boundaries. It's also teaching him to respect my space and to respect and honor his schedule and his school time. I had to remind him in the first few weeks, when you're at school, do you just get up and just walk around and just, nope. I know we're at home. However, when we are doing our active learning, let's make sure that we're focusing on that. And that's also helping me to train him so that when he does go back to the classroom, that maybe he can sit for longer periods of time. Maybe he can do a little better without blurting out in class because he knows all the answers. All right. So those boundaries, that's a good thing. All right. The last thing that I have is communication. Communication is so important. Oh, thank you, Kelton. Thank you so much. Communication is so important, right? I talk to my son every day. I check in with him to see how he feels. I'll let him know. I'll be like, you know what? I'm not feeling it today. Over the weekend, I felt horrible. Horrible. I did not feel good on Easter Sunday. I attended 2 church services virtually online and loved every moment of it, worshiped in my living room, but I did not feel good. My allergies were kicking my butt. And I don't know if it's the fact that I am not going outside as much. When I go to take my trash out or I go out to grill or whatever. I don't know. My allergies were cutting up sideways. So I communicated that to my son. Hey, mommy's not feeling great, dude. And he's like, okay, what do you need me to do? He's like, I'll make sure that I do this and I'll pick up my toys and I'll do this. But because I communicated with him and because of that relationship that we have, he understood, and he knew how to respond to that. All right. So the 3 things again, I'll go over them really quickly. Intention, gratitude, and love. All right. Be intentional during this time. Think about what it is you're going to do as far as your schedule goes with your family. Maybe you're not a block by block scheduler like me. That's okay. You don't have to be. My job as a coach is not to tell you what you need to do. I can coach you, I can guide you, and I can also share examples from my own life. Feel free to modify. Take what it is that I'm saying and modify it for yourself, for whatever it is that you need to do. But don't let anyone tell you that you don't need a schedule during this time. If you find yourself having more anxiety than normal, try blocking out time for certain things. All right. Try doing that. Again, if you're not a scheduler like me. But what I've noticed is my friends that are employees are finding themselves putting in more work for their employer than they did when they were physically going to the office. And when you're working like that, it's just like bringing work home when you were going to the office. You have to be careful and you have to establish boundaries for yourself. So having that schedule is establishing boundaries for yourself. When this is all over, we don't want home to feel like a place that we don't want to be. Home should be our safe place. It should be our place where we rest. It should be our place where we renew ourselves. So for me, as a parent, I don't want my child to resent home. So we have a schedule, but that schedule helps him to understand, all right, these are my school things. Oh, look, on the schedule, it says family time. What are we doing today, Mom, for family time? That works for us. That may not work for you. But I had to do that intentionally and block that off so that I could visually see it. So when people try to schedule me and do things, hey, are you available? Nope, I am not available at that time. That is my family time. Nope, I'm not available at that time. I will be homeschooling my son. Nope, can't do that. And that just helps me because at first I was double booking myself and doing all kinds of things just because I was home. All right. So thank you guys so much for being on today. Recap again: intention, gratitude, and love. So I talked about that intention. Be grateful. I'm grateful for this time to homeschool my son. I always thought about homeschooling him and thought it was something that I really wanted to do. This pandemic has given me that opportunity, right? It's crazy. It came in a crazy way. There's a lot going on. We were kind of thrust into this with no tools. Like there's no toolkit for this. However, I'm grateful. I get an opportunity to homeschool him with little risk. because everybody's homeschooling right now. So when this is over, when the school doors open back up, he can go right on back, right? So I'm grateful that I'm getting an opportunity to do this, to see if this is even something that I want to do, right? So I'm grateful. I wake up each day grateful. Love. Love is so important. Just because we're home all day does not mean that people understand and know that we love them. Some people need to hear the words. And as a parent, I tell my son, I love you, bud. And he's like, I know, Mom. Or he'll tell me back. But throughout the day, constantly, hey, you know what? I just wanted to come in here and tell you that I love you. And that has made such a big difference for me, right? When I'm feeling like things are out of control and I don't know what's what, you know what? Hey, bud, I love you. And we have to let love be at the center of all we're doing. So I appreciate you guys so much for being on. I am at my limit because I didn't want to keep you guys too much. Thank you guys so much for being on here. Make sure you like my page, Kimberly Denise, and follow me. Make sure you're following me on IG, Kimberly Denise.